All right, so good morning, everybody. Heading to work. Oh, someone got teepeed on our street. Man, you don't see that too much anymore. Let's see if I can slow down here. See if I can. You see that? Nice. Beautiful. Good, harmless fun. No, it wasn't me. I don't even know those people. There's just so many things, that you can do to, to be mean-spirited and things like that. And usually when you get... I remember when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, we would TP people's houses, and it's usually people that we liked. And half the time there was one time I TP'd my own house, I was so stupid. I was like, I had to go clean it up. And I didn't say that. I didn't mean like I went out for my own house. It was like I spent a night with a friend, and we TP'd like 3 people's houses, including my own. And that was really stupid. I know some people don't like it, but it's just toilet paper. It makes it really worse when it was raining. But anyway, we're not talking about TPing today. We're talking about the Royals. Today is the 23rd. Is that right? 22nd. July 22nd. So we got about a week to go. About a week to go until the trade deadline. The Royals... I can't remember. I was making a video the other day, and I ended up not publishing it because I was really distracted in the video. It wasn't very good. So honestly, I don't remember the last thing I actually talked about that I had published. But let's just go over real quick what the Royals have done. They traded Martin Maldonado, obviously, to the Cubs, and got Mike Montgomery in return. Montgomery made his Royals debut on Friday, and he was on a strict pitch count. I think it was like 40 to 50 pitches max. He gave up gave up 3 runs, I believe, in 2 innings, 3 or 4 runs. Wasn't very sharp, and the Royals lost that game to the Indians. And I know we've talked about the other things. Terrence Gore for cash, and who was the other trade? Homer Bailey. Yeah, I know we talked about him. But let's talk more about what happened on that Friday night game. So, the Royals actually, I think the game was tied, or... No, it wasn't tied. The Royals were down by a run. And Willy Peralta came in. He kept shaking off signs from the catcher, Melby Valoria. And then there was a very heated exchange between the two of them. Well, when I say heated exchange, it was all one-sided. It was Peralta it was not a good look on television. He was just berating his catcher. And even when the announcers make note of that, that's something to talk about. Now, there was a lot of talk that night and the next day. The Royals obviously lost the game. There was a lot of talk on social media and on Twitter about how this was really, really a bad look for Willy Peralta, a pitcher who has struggled all year long, a pitcher who the Royals really gave a second shot to after last year, after having a mildly successful second half of the season. He, mid 3 ERAs. I think he saved 14 or 15 games. But when you really break apart the numbers, he really was a beneficiary of good luck as opposed to good pitching. He actually had a negative WAR. Again, I'm not a big proponent of the WAR stat, but I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there. It is a measurement, but it's not I don't think it's the end all be all. Anyway, I don't watch too many of the games because I don't have a channel because I don't have cable and I don't have Sling TV. I do watch a lot of the highlights. I watch the condensed games when I can, which is basically shows every at bat. And then what I saw on the field, I was like, man, that's a really, really bad look by Peralta. And you don't show up your own teammate on the field. I mean, you want to have a disagreement and take it to the clubhouse. The thing is that here's a veteran guy who thought that the rookie was not calling the right pitches, so he kept shaking him off, and finally he get a pitch that Peralta wanted to throw, and they got hammered. Now, but then so Peralta was taking his frustration out on the catcher when he really should be pointing the finger at himself. And I think he could have diffused the situation if he just would have said after the game, or whatever, would have said something to the effect of, there was some miscommunication. It was my fault. I didn't want to throw the pitches he wanted to, and then the pitches I threw were getting hit hard, and I'm gonna have to do a better job of whatever. That's not what happened. I don't think he said anything actually, and I made a comment on one of the Facebook groups that I post in. I said I'm not going to be surprised if he's released before Saturday night's game. I said, and I guarantee you there's a 100% chance he doesn't make it home. He doesn't leave Cleveland as a Royal. It's possible they may keep him around for the weekend, but it's a good chance that he's going to be gone. I mean, the Royals have too many options in the minor leagues. They can bring Zimmer back up. They can bring Stalmont up. There's just too many bullpen arms they could bring up. They don't need a guy they don't need a veteran guy who's not playing well showing up his own teammates on the field. And sure enough, midday on Saturday, it was released. The Royals put out a press release that Willy Peralta had been designated for assignment. So he wasn't just flat out released. So again, designated for assignment means that he's been taken off and been put on waivers. He's been taken off the 40-man roster. He has 10 days to clear waivers. If he does clear waivers, the Royals can send him to the minors, or he can refuse the assignment and take his outright release. I would imagine that, or they can try to trade him during these 10 days as well. No one's going to take him. Nobody wants Willy Peralta. So the Royals will just, at the end of these 10 days, he's not going to take a minor league assignment, and he will be released. So the Royals, so then on Saturday, they 1-0 win. They had 4 pitchers throw a 3-hit shutout. Really good pitching on that day. And then yesterday, the Royals lose 5-4. It was a hard-fought game. It was a well-played game. That was a good game to sit down and watch. And unfortunately, the Royals came up 1 run short. Bubba Starling hit his his first major league home run, and he hit it right to a Royals fan. A Royals fan caught it on the fly. So it looks like a dad and his son out there out in the left field bleachers out at Progressive Field there in Cleveland. And so congratulations to Bubba Starling, who has hit well. I believe his average is right around 300. Most of his hits have been singles, but he comes through with his first home run. So, and he's played. He had a miscommunication with Gordon, like in his first game, when he first got called up, or his second game. But other than that, he's played good defense in center field, and I think the Royals are just going to run him out there every day now, and just see what they have. So since the Royals designated Willy Peralta for assignment, they added Josh Stalmont to the 40-man roster and also called him up to the active roster. I don't know if Stalmont pitched this weekend or not. I'll have to go back and look at the box scores. I don't think he did, but I'll have to see. But Stalmont, who was the Royals' third-round draft selection in the 2015 draft, he was thought to be a starter at first, but I think the Royals converted him into a reliever. He's got really, really good stuff. He's got a big fastball. and it's just a matter of can he control it. And he's always had some control issues, but his strikeout, I think he averages like 14 strikeouts per 9 innings, so well more than almost a 1.5 strikeouts an inning. So a big fastball. Just sometimes he doesn't know where it's going. A lot of walks. So it's going to be a matter of him controlling that, before it gets the better of him. If you remember back to the early 2000s when Royals had a reliever named Mike McDougall. McDougall had a very successful 2003 season, and then really nothing else after that. He just couldn't control his pitches, but he was effectively wild. And he had a slider and a curveball that were just absolutely filthy. If he could have learned any amount of control, this guy could have been one of the greatest closers, in Royals history, maybe even baseball history. He just couldn't command. He didn't have the command. But true Royals fans, well, not say true Royals fans, but hardcore Royals fans will remember a weekend series in St. Louis. And the reason I'm bringing this is because I was there in 2003 when McDougall, to end the game, he absolutely buckled Albert Pujols. And it was just, he usually would throw the slider, but this time he went with a curveball, so he even had a bigger break. And oh man, the Cardinal fans around me, they were ready to kill somebody. Just F this, F that, stupid umpire. How could he call that pitch a strike? And of course, we're in the upper deck. You can't see the strike zone from the upper deck. And I went back and looked at the replay when we got back home, and I saw it. I'm like, wow, that was a strike, and man, that was a wicked pitch. But anyway, so the Royals lose 2-3 to the Indians over the weekend, and when it comes to more trades, I think they're going to see Jake Diekman. I think he's going to probably be traded at some point this week. They're not going to get a whole lot for him. He went through a rough patch earlier in the year. He seems to be pitching a little better now. He pitched really well on Saturday night in one inning in the combined shutout. So really, Diekman and Hamilton and Duda are the remaining veterans on the roster that won't be here by next week. Lucas Duda really could have he may have cost the Royals the game yesterday. I'm not sure why he's on the roster. I wasn't sure why he was on the roster last year. At least last year, I somewhat understood the reason to an extent. They weren't really ready for Ryan O'Hearn to play. But O'Hearn's, and then they finally bring O'Hearn up, and he hit well last year. O'Hearn struggled just obviously to start this year, and they paved the way for more playing time for Duda. And I don't understand what the Royals are doing here with Lucas Duda. Last year, I somewhat understood it, even though I didn't agree with it. I at least understood what they were doing. But this year, it makes zero sense. So Duda's going to be gone. He'll be released at some point, and then I don't think they're going to get anything for Hamilton. Hamilton's going to have to be DFA'd, obviously, to. Well, I take that back. They did trade Terrence Gore for cash, so we'll see what they do with Hamilton. Diekman will get something back. The Royals will get a player for Diekman. He's a decent enough pitcher. It's what really is going to be interesting is what happens if they don't trade Hamilton. Do they just sit him on the bench? That's what they've done so far with Bubba Starling. Bubba Starling he plays really good defense, maybe even great defense, and he has a better bat than Hamilton already. So we'll see what happens with Billy Hamilton. So with these three players, here's my predictions. Lucas Duda will be designated for assignment / released. Dinkman will be traded, and I think Hamilton stays on the club for the rest of the year. I don't think the Royals are going to find anybody who wants him. I think the Royals are going to want more back in return for him than what they got for Terrence Gore, and I don't think any team is going to give them more than just cash considerations. There is the possibility of, so let's go to another player. So Ian Kennedy has pitched pretty well this year as a closer, and there is some mild interest out there. The Royals are going to have to eat a lot of money on his contract in order to trade him. The rest of this year, and he's got another all of next year too, I believe. I think it's around $22 million in total they would have to eat. No one's going to pick that up. I mean, if he was having a Wade Davis like circa 2014, 2015 season, yeah, someone actually may pick that contract up. Someone could afford to pay it. If not the whole thing, the Royals could pay a portion of it. But, he's not that good. I mean, he's having a fine season, but he's not that good. And so there's not really a lot of opportunity for the Royals to get rid of him and dump that salary. It'd be a salary dump, and no one wants to take on that salary. So I think what the Royals are going to do is they're probably not going to trade Ian Kennedy. He will probably be the Royals' closer next year, unless they can, like I said, unless they decide to eat some money on a contract. And so, if you listen to sports radio in Kansas City, you're familiar with Soren Petro. And Petro made a great point about this the other day when he said, the glasses, sometimes the glasses still get, unfairly criticized in social media, which it just absolutely baffles me. They deserved criticism back in the early 2000s, but not anymore. They've done everything. They've been model owners. And they have given Dayton Moore every resource he's needed to win a championship. And he did. The one thing the Glasses haven't done, they have taken on salary in a trade. And they've dumped a lot of prospects to get pieces to win a world championship. The only thing they haven't done is eat money in a trade. They haven't traded an overpaid veteran and to get something in return. If you were to trade Ian Kennedy right now and not eat any money on his contract, you might get a 16-year-old lottery ticket that they've signed out of Venezuela, that some team signed out of Venezuela. You might get something like that. You're not going to get anything other than that. Now, if you eat half his contract, you might get a mid-range A-ball prospect. If you eat all of it, so essentially you're paying for him. So another team's looking at it like, man, we're going to get a pretty decent pitcher. We're going to have to pay him any money. Okay, Royals, we'll give you our number 9th rated prospect in our system. They may do that. That's the last hurdle for the Glasses to have to overcome. And if they can do that, it will make the Royals a better team. Now, I don't want people to unfairly criticize David and Dan Glass because they haven't done this. Because when you really think about it, here's what happens when you eat money in a contract. Dayton Moore is the guy signing the contracts. So Dayton Moore, obviously, he was the one responsible for signing Ian Kennedy to the contract he signed him to, which in his first season with the Royals, I mean, most people want to forget this because they like to rewrite history, but in his first season with the Royals, Ian Kennedy actually had a pretty decent season. He's been really awful since then, but he's back to a decent pitcher this year. It didn't help that the Royals were coming off a world championship and then had 2 straight 500 seasons and then lost 104 games last year. And Ian Kennedy didn't help them. He wasn't the James Shields, okay? James Shields came here after the Royals were losing 90 plus games year after year. James Shields comes in and changes, well, not just James Shields, but he helped change the culture of the team. You know, he and Miguel Tejada really helped with that as well in 2013. And Ian Kennedy has not really taken that on, and so when you eat money in a trade, like I said, it gives you more opportunities to get a better player in return. So going back to it, so Dayton Moore is essentially going to his boss, the owner of the baseball team, and saying, Mr. Glass, can you write a check for Ian Kennedy because so I can trade him so we can get a better player. Now think about that for a second. He wants David Glass to spend his own money to help cover a mistake that Dayton Moore made. Now, I can understand criticizing an owner because they don't want to spend money in free agency. That's not the problem here. Dan Glass and David Glass have shown that they will spend money in free agency. What they haven't shown, obviously, is the eating of a salary. So we'll see if they can actually pull this off. I'm hopeful that they can, because if they do, the Royals will be better for it. So I just pulled into the office here, so I do got to get in because I got a late start this morning. But thank you for watching this video. If you come across this, I know there's just a handful of subscribers, but we've gotten several more subscribers over the past couple of days. Still not very many, but if you like these videos, just let me know. And if you don't like them, be nice in your comments. Thanks. Have a nice day.